I went to school 1,500 miles away from home at UMass Amherst, also known as ZooMass. Woo! And out of those 20,000 creatures roaming around that campus, I knew exactly none. So when I first got there, I really wanted to find my college family. Now, in high school, I belonged to the theater crowd. And by the time I was a senior, I had guzzled quite a few leading roles. So right after orientation, I scoured the campus for audition notices. And the first play I auditioned for was Noah. So I run to the library to snag a copy of the script, and that had two purposes. One, help me prepare better, and two, it deprived anyone else of access to that copy. Now, I got to the audition about 20 minutes early, you know, scope out my rivals. And I immediately saw the other freshmen, because, you know, we were smiling a little bit and kind of hugging the wall. But then there were the upperclassmen, and they were a different breed entirely. I mean, they didn't just smile, they laughed loudly, and they took up a lot of space. And the guys, they wore black turtlenecks, and the gals, well, they had these asymmetric haircuts, and they wore this chunky, bright jewelry. I mean, if they were exotic flamingos, we were kind of like squirrels. But I did pretty well because I found out the next day that I was called back. Now, you know, an audition, it's kind of like a blind date. I mean, you hope you have a good time, but it's low expectations. But a callback, I mean, this was like a fifth date, and I wanted to go steady. Now, there were 4 women's roles and an animal ensemble, you know, Noah and the Ark and the animals. And the animals could be played by men or women, so this was all pretty good. So the callback is in a real theater that sat 400 people. And we get in there, and the first thing that the director, Dick Trousdale, has us do is, you know, kind of warm up physically because he wanted to see how we inhabited the animals. So I'm soaring like a raven and slithering and pouncing like a lion. And you know, after that, we're all a little loose, and there are about 40 of us in that room, and the next thing that Dick has us do is read from the script. And I was called back for the role of Ada, the youngest daughter, about 16, and there were 3 of us up for the same role. So, the first person who reads, Letitia Ord, a senior. And, you know, she did pretty well. She was very graceful, she had a good, strong voice, but she looked like she was about 35. So I read next, and I wanted to channel all my nervous energy into youthful enthusiasm, and I connected with my scene partner. I looked him right in the eyes, because I practically had the script memorized, and I felt really good about it. And then the last person read, and it was another freshman, Laura Gewurtz. Now, Laura had about 5 inches on me, but when she read, I could hear it, the slightest whiff of a Bronx accent. So I'm feeling pretty good. And then Dick Trousdale looks at us, and Dick had these wonderful blue eyes, and when he looked at you, you felt he was only looking at you. And he surveys the scene, and he says, "Now, I'd like you to sing." And my heart starts thumping, because the callback notice had not said anything about preparing a song. But when the director tells you to sing, you sing. So when it was my turn, I got up there, and I sang a song I knew pretty well from The Sound of Music. Totally unprepared am I to sing when it's not even a goddamn musical. But I got through that. And then last of all, and it's about 10:30 by now, and we're all a little punchy. Dick sits us all in a circle. He says, I want to hear how well you listen to each other. I want to hear you chant, and I want to see if you could all end at the same time. So we all sit in the circle, and he doesn't tell us who's going to go first or who's going to go next. And one person starts, and then someone else joins in, and then I join in, and there are these wonderful sounds arising from this circle, these las and ohms, and it's this harmony that emerges from us, and we're all in that circle, and we're all chanting, and magically we all do end at the same time. So we're in one circle, one chord, one family. Until the next day, when Dick would shove 2/3 of us out of that arc. So the next day, I knew when the cast list had been posted because this crowd surged toward this 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And I hear one girl squeal. I mean, she must have gotten cast. And then this boy in front of me, I see his shoulders slump as he moved out of my way. And I'm looking at the cast list, and I'm looking for my name, and there's Mrs. Noah, and there's Sella, and there's Norma, and there's Ada. And my name is not there. But that's okay, because there's still the animal ensemble. And I was a ferocious lion. And I'm looking at the animal ensemble names. I could not find my name on that cast list. Dick had gone with Laura Gewurtz, that Amazon from the Bronx. Now, I could tell you that I cried for 40 days and 40 nights, but that would be a lie. Here's what really happened. I made a promise to myself that I would keep auditioning. And about 6 weeks later, I got my first role. Non-speaking, but hey, there are no small parts. And I got to know my rivals, the other newbie auditioners. And as the weeks rolled by, those rivals, well, they became my college family.